Welcome back to another in the series. We have another eBay purchase and another reel-to-reel tape deck. One that I don't have in my collection, and I'm hoping is one that I'm hoping is a colorful one. This is an inexpensive tape deck, and I believe early 60s, which is what most of these in the collection in my tape recorder series have been, are early 60s is when these were in the highly competitive tape recorder market. Everybody was scrambling to invent their own version of the little reel-to-reel tape deck. You're welcome. And this is a Harpers tape recorder, 4-transistor. It comes complete with a box, and you can see all the information. Harpers International by Japan, model TR44. Complete price, $54.95. That was high dollar stuff back in these days. So let's see what we have here. I don't know what to expect, honestly. Oh, great. Came with a manual, such as it is. A little brochure. Okay. And look at that. Wow. So it's a peach color. Love it. Well, that's kind of sad. It's missing its Harpers label, unless it's in here somewhere. Or wouldn't that be nice? But might be too much to hope for. We'll have to print one, or use the CNC machine and cut one. But you see that peach color? Interesting. And removable lid. Beautiful gold trim. Beautiful little tape deck. Now I have one identical to this in my collection, and we're going to go see if we can find it. I've given a few of these away, and so I don't know. I don't have an inventory yet. I need to do an inventory on all my tape recorders so that I can just go find it and in the inventory. But this comes with a little lanyard for the front here. Comes with a microphone. Got a lot of these little microphones, gold tone. And you see what happens to the foam. It reacts with the plastic on the leads. It's not a big deal to remove that, but it sure does do the damage to... Yeah, this one's completely stuck. Oh my goodness, yeah. Little earphone. And this is a crystal earphone. These work with as a microphone as well as an earphone. And this is extra tape. I don't know what happened here, but if I can get it out of there. Yeah. Just some extra tape. Interesting. What it reads. Let's see what it reads on here. Agfa Magneton Band. Magneton Band. Magneton Band. Agfa Magneton Band. All right, so that's an Agfa Magneton band. All right, well, good to know. But yeah, there's the little tape recorder. Has a little speaker. Rewind, off, play, and record. And battery compartments right here. And got beautiful little colorful pieces. A erase head and play and record head. Let me see if I can find, first of all, let's look inside the styrofoam on the chance that the identification there is in the styrofoam. Okay, nothing there. Pull this one out if I can without destroying it. If it's in there to stay, oh no, it's coming out. I don't want to mess up the box. It's such a beautiful box. But there's a good chance that that label is down inside. If you don't hear it, I'm not going to destroy this styrofoam. Just don't want to do that. So we're going to put this back together. And we can identify what it looks like. Maybe if there's a picture here. No, no picture. Wouldn't you know? Yeah, no picture. So I don't know what. It just had the... So let me see if I can find that other tape recorder. I found one of them. I know I have another one here. I've looked through the collection. I may have put it in storage. This is the Continental, which is a very similar layout. If you'll look at the two of them side by side, they both have the control here. This one had a lever that stuck out, had a little speaker, volume control here, volume control here, same layout, basically the same tape recorder. All the chrome pieces, chrome, this is gold tone and this is chrome, but everything else is the same. Even the little catch here for the door was the same. The cutout for the volume control is the same cutout. Removable hinge, removable lid. Battery compartment is the same here, and the lid was different. As you can see, this had the Continental label on it, and it had a Continental sticker on the back here. But and this one, of course, doesn't have the Harper sticker. But it's basically the same set. It even has the little catches for clips for the leatherette cable here. So it was the Continental, and I did a repair on this. It's got really bad tires. Very, very bad tires on this one. And a buddy of mine sent me this Continental label and a new arm for this tape recorder. So this one doesn't use that extended arm, but it's the same layout. So I don't know what condition we're going to find these tires in. I'm hoping they're not as bad. Hope these are not as bad as what we found on the Continental, because that clunking just ruins the performance of the tape deck. So let's see if we can get some batteries put into this and pop this open, and let's look and see what condition we have here. Oh, not bad. Not bad at all. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? So we'll get a couple of C batteries and we'll put some batteries in it. Got some scratchy noise there, don't we? Oh yeah, we got the same problem. But we got audio. Hear that? Let's turn the amp, turn that off, put this back in. And let's see if we can get the audio back. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll play a little trick here and get it to play even though the transport is not working. So let me get a screwdriver here. Good strong audio, so that's a good sign. So now we know we've got to take it apart and see where the clunking is coming from, just like we have in the Continental. What will be nice, if it's possible, to repair both of these and have them both working like new. So we're going to see what we've got inside here, and we'll do that on camera and open it up and look and see what condition we have with these tires. I know that I can feel that, see that notch right there? Really bad. So I don't know what we're going to find, but we'll take it apart and we'll see what we've got. We've got quite a bit of corrosion here, or is that leftover rust from, yeah, it was probably grease, old grease. I'm not sure what it is, but we can get the motor to run. Yeah, the motor's running. And these tires are just completely solidified. Let's take a closer look here. It is completely destroyed. Let me get a zoom in here. You can see, if you can get the right light, see it. You can see that big notch right there, and then there's another notch, and this is supposed to be rubber, and it's as hard as a rock. And the motor, what happens is the motor just drops right down into that. See that right there? It just completely ruined tire. And the rewind is a little bit less damaged because the rewind pulley on the motor is bigger and it doesn't leave quite the impression into the tire as that one did. So we've got to make some decisions about how we're going to take this apart. We have to lift this whole thing off and get this tire out of here. What I'd love to do is to just 3D print a rubber tire for this and cut this all off, put a whole new rubber tire on there, and I think we can do that, and it would probably would run just fine. But cutting this down with a lathe, this is as hard as a rock. We're never going to be able to make this work where it's useful. So let's do that. Let's pull the transport free. We'll pull these 4 screws out, 4 or 5 screws, whatever they are here. But this is all part, this whole switch and everything is all part of the amplifier board, speaker. Well, not the speaker, but amplifier. These 2 screws here have got to come out. And we've got to get this play and rewind. We've got to get this off here. There we go. Okay. I got these 2 screws. What I used was a piece of cardstock just to keep from tearing up the face, because this face will clean up pretty nicely once we're ready to get back together here. It's interesting that these Japanese tape recorders were manufactured under so many different names. There we go. We've got spacers. There are 2 spacers in between the board and the face here that we'll have to put back. They just fell out onto the thing. The speaker's falling out here. All I want to do is get to these drives to be able to see if we can get replace these pulleys. There we go. So a little cap screw right there. And gummed up pretty bad. All right, see how bad, what a bad condition that tire is in. What I had done in one of the other videos is put some glue in there and filled that, but it didn't work. Honestly, it just didn't work. We'll take all of this off. And then we will 3D print a tire to lay and glue right on the top here. So I'll do a little measurement so I know how thick to make the tire. And I think this tire just wrapped around this material. We're not going to worry about wrapping around it. We're going to glue right on top. I think we can get this cut off without even putting this in the lathe. And look at this glue, or grease. It's hard as a rock. So let me get this cleaned off, and then we'll measure it, and then we'll clean it off, and then we'll design a new tire to fit this. And if we're successful on this one, we'll do that on the Continental, because it's clunky as well, and I never did repair it. Okay, we've peeled off the top layer, and you can see it had the little retainer things here. This is what we're going to print, and we're going to glue it right to the top. Let me show you the drawing and the measurements here. So that's what we're going to print, and there's a relief picture of it. So I do need to measure this distance. It looks like about 3 millimeters, but we'll measure that as well so that we know. It's overall 7, so maybe 2.5, I'm not sure. But that's what we'll do. And I'm going to sand this nice and flat and clean. And we're just going to leave this alone. We're not going to even worry about this part. It won't be in our way. And we'll sand that flat. And I think this will. We can get a nice flat glued press fit. So we'll set it on the table. I've got a marble top over here that I've used in some of my videos. I've got a marble top that's about 40 or 50 pounds. And I'll just lay this on that with the glue glued on and press this with a clamp right in the middle. And that'll make sure that we have a nice, clean, glued seal against this pot metal. So let me get to the CAD software and get that designed and on the printer. And then we'll get this cleaned up, get one printed, and get it on the marble table. All right, we're going into the CAD software here, and we've got the new tire design. Just takes a couple minutes to do this. It's not a big deal. The thickness is a little high here, so I'm going to drop it to 2 millimeters, and that'll make it just about right. So that's ready to print. So we'll put that on the printer and then glue it to the spindle. Okay, we finished printing overnight, and here's the new tire. It's got a few bumps on this upper level here that I'm not pleased with. And this material doesn't sand very well, so I don't know what we'll do yet, but it fits beautifully, as you can see here. And let's see how it compares to the original. It's a little thicker. I made it just a little bit thicker, but you can see the original. You can see some of the imperfections on the print there. But it will be a lot better than what we had, that's for sure. So we'll glue this, and then we'll put it face down and clamp it like that, and then let it dry for a day, cure, whatever, and then we should be able to get this tape recorder playing again. So let's get it glued and clamped, and I'm going to sand this down before we glue it. Okay, I got my marble table here, and sanded the spindle. So let's do that and get a clamp. Okay. All right, we got it glued and on clamp. So we'll let that sit today, and then this afternoon we'll come back to this and we'll put the spindle back on. Probably going to need to repair this one too. We'll see if we can get this to grip with some heat shrink tubing on this side. We don't care about the speed. In fact, the faster it spins for rewind, the better. So we can add diameter to that with some heat shrink, and it'll may grip this rubber. We'll see. That rubber is hard as a rock, but it may be able to grip with heat shrink tubing. So we're not going to pull the spindle off for rewind just yet. I want to get this play side working so that the motor can grip it. And we'll probably end up having to put some heat shrink tubing on this motor to get it to grip the tire, but we'll see. Okay, we got the tire put on and back in place. You can see it there. Oops, just dropped the tape. See, the tire is in place. And you can also see that I've put a heat shrink tube on the motor drive there, and did one on the rewind. Didn't replace the rubber on the rewind. Didn't need to, as we will see. I did contact cleaner on the multifunction switch and on the volume control. So let's take a look and see what we've got here. Okay, that's rewind. And some tape recorders leave the audio on rewind so you can track the audio. Okay. Okay, now listen to that. Still pretty loud, isn't it? And that's the motor vibrating. Yeah, that's the motor. Yeah, it's the motor vibrating, and I'm not going to replace the motor for just but it's driving, which is working very nicely. So let's take a microphone and turn the volume up and go to record. Checking 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3 on the Harpers TR44 tape recorder. Got a lot of noise in the motor drive system, but the tires are working correctly, and we've got a good consistent turn on the motor. So that's a successful repair in that regard. But let's check and see what kind of audio recording we're getting on the Harpers now. All right, so we've got a lot of flutter in the motor, and Wow seems to be in pretty good shape, but the flutter is pretty rough. So I think this is what we can expect. Another option is to print a tire like this and flip it upside down so that the print build plate side is really smooth and it is the surface in which the motor contacts. And that might be what I'll do for the Continental tape recorder. And you can see the differences in the thicknesses there. And this tire rubbed on the frame, so I tore it off, reprinted another tire, and glued it on there, and it's working beautifully in terms of its grip and performance on the draw for the motor. And rewind is working quite well. So I'm going to button this back up. And we'll do a Wow and Flutter test. I know it's not even going to be fair, and the numbers won't even register on the Wow and Flutter analyzer. But let's hook it up to a Wow and Flutter and just get an idea of how these recorders turned out after being repaired. Okay, I've recorded 3000 hertz tone on both tape recorders using the Wow and Flutter analyzer. So I'm going to play, and I've rewound it. So we're going to watch. I'm going to zoom in on the screen. Well, see if we can get a glare-free look. There, that's better. All right. So we should zero in on, it should be center screen here for 0, and then up is faster and slow down is slower. And then there's a number there. I'll call out that number that it's actually reading. And then here's the Wow and Flutter. The higher the scale, the higher the needle, the higher the Wow and Flutter. I have it at 1%. It won't go any higher than that because anything higher than 1%, or actually 2%, is considered pretty bad Wow and Flutter. So we're going to watch this needle. My guess is that it'll be pegged solid over here, and I don't know what this is going to do. This is the tone that it's reading, and this is the frequency response. So let's watch this one. We're going to do this one first. All right. It's somewhere around 3,500. Let's do that again. And the needle is pegged up here on Wow and Flutter. So pretty rough. All right, now we're going to do the other tape recorder, the Continental. A little better. All right, now we're going to play the digital tape recorder, and let's see how. Okay, we've got the Sony digital recorder, and this is the digital Scoopman, the NT1, and we've got a stereo mic here. We'll set it right here next to the recorder, or the laptop, and we'll record a tone first. Okay, that ought to do it. Let's go to plug it in, audio, play. All right. Dead on frequency. And let's drop it to the lowest setting. Pretty incredible. This is the Wow and Flutter at the lowest setting.
Okay, that ought to do it.
So it's almost indiscernible. Wow and Flutter actually would be considered zero wow and flutter, and the frequency is dead on. So let's rewind that so that you can see these features one more time. Okay. We'll watch this and we'll watch this. Now the left-hand screens show the deviation from frequency. Either positive frequencies or lower or negative frequencies. So if we have a flat line, it means that there's zero deviation in the frequency that's being heard on the microphone. And you can see the needle is dead in the middle, which means that there's no deviation, which means that there's no wow on the playback of the tape recorder.